Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LS Formula Series. We're here for round 3 at Imola for the Vintage.com Imola Grand Prix. It's currently taking a look at the standings. We have Jimmy Fuego up in first with 16 points, Draco in second with 14, Flappa in third with 12, Zach in fourth with 10, and Zio in fifth with 9 points. Of course, we got other drivers, Jack and Linz who are also tied with Zio, but also Sam with 8, Apollo with 7, or Apollo with 6, MTL with 7, and of course, Scratch still with 0, but a few other drivers with less. A minimum 2 points, so we already have people with points in there. But Scratch is another one that we should keep an eye out. So let's see how they'll be doing. And also keep an eye out for the next few races, as we're gonna go to Canada for the Sky Devil mentioned Canadian Grand Prix, and to Japan for the Audi Record Suzuka Grand Prix. Just keep an eye out on those races. And I'm really excited for Canada because I've never done the test racing in Canada. We've done it once, and so I'm kind of curious how it'll be with the new Formula cars. I'm curious if we all have an insane race there. That would be a great thing to have. We've done a few test racing in Imola. Of course, it has been lots of drama in Imola. Last time we've done testing here, and it's what makes Imola racing here so great. As we are going to be taking a look at the qualifying session here at Imola. Starting off with Jack, the number 10, coming out first. Of course, Jack. Let me get my sheet document out real quick so we can see the results. Jack ended up, of course, he ended up 11th out of the points margin after a very devastating Bahrain race. And Flappa's situation wasn't any better either, of course. Won the first ever Formula 1 or Formula LRS Formula race in Australia in the season, and also the first ever race ever. Also the first race in the season was won by Flappa. Then in Bahrain, ended up all the way in 14th, which is not a great look to the progress, of course. And same story could be said for MTL. MTL actually had a really good race there. Excuse me. He had a really good race. Ended up 13th in Australia, but in Bahrain ended up in 4th, which is a big one-up. And also for MTL, was been driving different series. MTL is also racing. He's been staying at Bahrain for another race season or for another series, and that race did not go well in the slightest. And you could say the same for Blake Easyoi. Blake's race was also not that good in the different series, as both MTL and Blake race in GT, and Blake ended up 16, but MTL, who races in a race-winning car, actually ended up 2nd in the Mugello in GT. Completely DNF'd at the end of the race, final lap. It was devastating to see. However, for Blake, different story. He ended up at 12th. Let's see how he'll be doing here at Imola. Same story for MTL. I'm kind of curious if he could do some good stuff here and get himself into the podiums possible. So taking a look at the 12th, but now also Zio, a driver that ended up 2nd in the Formula race in Bahrain, and he has been doing solid so far. Of course, he was out of the points margin in Australia, but in Bahrain he ended up on podium, which is a very impressive result from the number 8. Of course, Zio also been racing in stock car, as they had the race in Atlanta. And over there, Fantasy race. I cannot find him over there. Either way, just looking at Zach right here. But yeah, Zio has also been doing all right. Of course, second in Bahrain. Let's see how he'll end up here. Zach has been doing very solid too. Ended up third in Australia. Now here he ended up ninth in Bahrain, and now he's here in he's here with the McLaren livery in Imola. He's been racing a prototype, and he was at Japan last time after racing in Bahrain, and he ended up taking the win over there, the Nippon prototype race in the LRS prototype series. Flappa also been doing very solid, although ended up in a very terrible result in what's it called, in stock car. And it's a bit of a bummer since Flappa has been trying to do their best in of course stock car, but it's not going well. However, for Formula it's going way better for Flappa, so let's see how the 73 will be doing here today. So looking at the 43 of Zach. And Draco, another driver to keep an eye out on, ended up fifth in Australia, and he got himself a podium in Bahrain. Or that's Metro, excuse me, not Draco. They both have this very identical liveries. It's like the black with the red. Metro, he has an all right start to the season. Ended up 10th in Australia, now 6th here in Bahrain. And for the GT series for him, that's been going all right. Of course, he started off a terrible way, ended up 15th in Mugello over there, but ended up 7th in Bahrain in the GT series. So Metro has been doing all right. Linz, however, has been doing extremely good as he won the Daytona opener, the prototype Daytona opener, 61 lap race around Daytona, and he won that one with the LMP1. We have less than 3.5 minutes. Currently the standings, and it is insane to see this with Scratch. He really wants those points as he gets himself a pole position here. And currently taking a look at the standings, we have Flappa, Draco, Zio, Zach, Jim Fuego, Apollo, Metro, Kanzi, MTL, Jack, Blake, Easyoi, Linz, Sam, Miyu, and pole position, Scratch with a 120, 454. And drivers from Apollo and downwards, they have over 1 minute 21. So to pretty much put in perspective, Zio is a second slower than Scratch. Anyway, let's see what they could do here as time is ticking. We're gonna Blake Easyworth completely flooring that car all the way into the last turn here. Even at the chicane over there. And now look at Blake coming over to the straight here. And we'll see what result he'll have. He's going to take a look at the pole sitting, none other than Scratch. He's here. He wants to do more than get a pole. He wants to win. And he knows he has 0 points on the board right now. And he wants to do more than win. He wants to do more than just get 1 point. He wants to take all the points here at Imola. You can definitely see that in the way he's driving. He's driving without any fear behind that wheel. There's no fear in his eyes. And I love that. I love when drivers have that. That's how you know they're completely locked in. As time is ticking, this has to be the lap for multiple drivers, including the number 6 of Sam here. Less than half a minute is remaining here in Imola. Almost said Australia. It's Imola in Italy. And the reason why we don't call it the Italian race is because, or the Italian Grand Prix, because Monza is Italian Grand Prix. This is just called Imola. And we did the same thing with Suzuka and Autopolis, where we don't have one of them as Japanese, we both have them as Suzuka and Autopolis because they're both in Japan. And Imola is a bit further away into its own location, as the qualifying session here at Imola comes to an end. We are looking at these remaining drivers crossing the line, such as the 10 of Jack, the driver who a lot of people have eyes on. And Metro about to cross the line. Let's see where he'll end up. Stays in 9th, no improvement. Jack is 7th, Apollo all the way in 10th, so he's just in the margin to get a point. He has to push more, he has to do a lot of work to get that car going and possibly into the podiums if he wants to. Or even in the top 5, that will also get you secured for the latter half of the season. So look at Apollo crossing the line here. Same story with Jack. Let's see if any of them could improve. Neither of them did. Making that Scratch, MTL, Sam, Mio, and later top 5. As everyone gets ready, we're gonna go green. 15 laps here around Imola. MTL on the left, the Scratch. No collision so far. Great job. Oh, there goes Jack, I think. And now Metro could try to overtake Jack after Jack went a bit sideways for a second. Oh, it looks like somebody went off over there. And that is Jack. Completely out of the race. And that section is so dangerous. It has seen many drivers retire there. And now we see that with Jack, who comes out of the pits now, but under a whole lap, which must be devastating for the number 10. Going to lap 2, Metro on the inside of Blake. And the 21 is speeding through the field like an absolute maniac here. Looking at Jimmy Fuego so far. A scratch over half a second in the lead. Sitting very comfortably so far. Is Draco also out? Draco out! And so is Jack, I think. No, Jack is not. Draco, however. Oi, oi, oi. Not a way to start off the season good either. Another one bites the dust. On to lap 3 out of 15. Let's see who else could try to get back on the field. And Draco comes back onto the race. But a whole lap down. And now he has to be careful because he's going to get blue flagged by a bunch of drivers. Oh, Zio to the wall. And that is Apollo. Backwards onto the grass over there. Oi, 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 onto the sand, excuse me. And Zio, who banged the wall super hard, but managed to get that car back on the field. What a unit. What an absolute unit of a driver. He does go off here and there, but he's also completely out of the question for a point, but he is doing fine. Imola is a tough cookie. Looking good so far for the number 21 of Metro. Already in 6th, and you definitely see him trying to put pressure on Miu and trying to get ahead of the Filipino. Looking at MTL, currently is 2nd and scratch ahead of him. About to lap Jack. And that's how far the drivers are who got into a crash beforehand. Meanwhile, Zach looking for an opportunity here. Close to Flappa. He's trying to get that point for himself. Meanwhile, Scratch comfortably in the lead as he's about to cross the line and go into lap 6. Lap 6 out of 15 for Scratch. Already has led a quarter of the race by himself. And we have 10 more laps remaining here at Imola. Flopper currently in 11th. And it's not looking good for the 73 so far. Of course, lost his spot from Zach and is now out of the points margin. And Flopper might go without points here at Imola. There might be no points twice. Meanwhile, it's looking great for Blake. Blake is already in 7th. But Jimmy Fuego also planning to overtake Kanzi soon. Now we see him get closer. On to the straightaway here. Let's see if Metro could overtake Miyu on the outside. Gets close inside. Beautiful overtake right there from Metro. But it's not done deal between the two. Now the 21 gets on the inside. Now, is he ahead of Miyu or is it... No, not ahead of Miyu, but the pack now is closer. Now, everyone could try to overtake one another. And the chances of that 5th spot are now... Now that 5th spot is a question mark. And it could be filled by any of these drivers. Jimmy getting closer to Kanzi. Jimmy on the outside over here onto the chicane. That could get dirty. That could get really scary. And Jimmy getting pushed off. Now, the 32 has to try again. Zio behind Flopper so far, and he is also going to be trying to take that spot away. It's not looking great for Zio today. Neither for Flopper. And neither for any of the other drivers in 13, 14 for 15th as Zio gets on the outside here. And tries to keep it cool, tries to keep it calm, and does get ahead of Flopper in a clean manner. And now let's see if Zio can get closer to Zach and take that 10th spot. And take that point away from Zach. And Zach has been struggling. After Bahrain, it really looks like he has been struggling. But I do not want to speak too soon. I do not want to pop the champagne too soon. We still have a lot of races to go. Remember, we have so many more races to go. There's 14 races in a single season. This is just round 3 out of 14. So anything could happen. Shit could still hit the fan, as I would like to say. Looking at Linz getting closer to Sam, and you definitely see that 23 trying to get that podium. And meanwhile, the number 6 trying to hold back the Norwegian as much as possible. But he has to do a lot if he wants to keep that spot. Let's see if Sam does have the power and the skill to hold back Linz for as long as possible. Even on the straightaways and on the chicanes. That's where the biggest opportunities are. Looking back at Linz here. And Kanzi all set to side with Blake. Can't really see it on the broadcast, but we can definitely see it on the board. Blake holding back Kanzi. Really want to see that battle between the two. And Blake getting overtaken by Kanzi. Now the 7th turns into an 8th, and Blake might get the same result that he had in Australia in 8th position. But that's if he holds Jimmy Fuego back, and if he tries to get Kanzi again, he could turn that 8th into a 7th. And Jimmy Fuego putting pressure on the Canadian. Five more laps remaining here at Imola, and Scratch still on top with over a second of a lead away from MTL. Meanwhile, MTL over 8 seconds away from Sam, and Lynn's close to Sam, able to overtake soon, and I think this might be the time that he's gonna try. And of course, you don't get that on the fucking broadcast. But Lynn's, they get ahead of Sam, and that's a good thing. Going from a 6th to a 7th to a 3rd. That looks really good on your resume, on your status. That despite going midfield, that you could still get a podium. Currently into lap 12 out of 15. Metro comfortably in 6th, but he's definitely going to try to go even faster, and he wants to turn that 6th into a 5th. Meanwhile, Miyu is doing all right so far. Tries to think of her own race, as opposed to, oh no, Metro's behind me type stuff. And now, Kanzi trying to go for a move here, and this move could go bad. This could definitely go bad. And Kanzi hit Metro. The 7 they get ahead, but made huge contact with the 21, and now this gives Blake an opportunity to get that 8th back to a 7th. Unless Metro has the pace and the speed to get back up. And the 21 must be furious after this, as we have 3 more laps remaining here at Imola. Now, things are starting to heat up. 2 more to go. And Kanzi getting closer to Miyu. Meanwhile, Blake not being able to get close to Metro. Metro must be mad right now, over 2 seconds away from Kanzi, but he's slowly making that back up. And now, that 5th spot is under threat. It is under threat now. That 5th spot could be a big question mark. So far, it's on Miyu's name. But I feel like in a few laps, it could be Kanzi's name. Or in a couple laps, it could be Kanzi's name. But it depends on how Kanzi will race against Miyu. Meanwhile, Blake making a bit of progress here and there. Getting closer to Metro. Oh, and now he could try to go for an opportunity. Let's see if the Canadian will do it on the inside here. And he don't get it. He does not get it. But there's still multiple opportunities. Of course, this is straightaway on the start-finish line. As we are about to wave white flag. 1 more lap to go here at Imola. Scratch still in the lead, and I think that's just more so a definitive winner so far. Meanwhile, the midfield is a bit of a question mark, a huge question mark in fact. Multiple drivers go for different positions, lots of overtaking opportunities. Going from Kanzi overtaking Miyu to Metro getting overtake, Blake overtaking Metro. But one thing that definitely is confirmed is Kanzi overtaking Miyu as the Brit got ahead of the Filipino and is now in 5th spot. And as I said, it would happen in a fewer couple laps. Meanwhile, we also have multiple questions that are also in the air. Of course, will Blake be able to overtake Metro? Will Zach be able to overtake Jimmy? And will Zio be able to overtake Zach? Those are other things that are also in the question here. As you look at Scratch, coming over to the straight, so even a black and white checkered flag. The 22, he will see victory lane here at Imola. MTL coming home in 2nd, and it's a beautiful 1-2 for those drivers. Not in a team, but possibly there might be in a team in the future. You never know. Linz coming home in 3rd, and he gets himself his first podium. Sam in 4th, and Kanzi eventually ending up in 5th. What an improvement. Metro in 7th, Blake in 8th. And multiple other drivers. We, of course, have Draco all whole lap down. And, yeah, Scratch first, MTL second, Linz 3rd, Sam, who ended up in 4th. And despite the fact that he got overtaken by Lindsay, still in a big points margin. Kanzi also in the points. Miyu still in the points. Metro, although despite being pushed down by Kanzi at one of the very difficult turns, did get up there in the points. Blake, same story. Jimmy also, and Zach, who eventually did hold back Zio to get himself that 10th spot. And those being the points in the top 10. Jack, unfortunately, he had issues in the beginning of the race. Got hit off the track, but now he's about to cross the line, and at least he came across the finish line. That is the good part. The results. It was Stretch who won. MTL 2nd, Linz in 3rd, 7th, 4th, Kanzi 5th, Mio 6th, Metro 7th, Blake in 8th, Jimmy in 9th, and Zach in 10th, and the fastest lap made by Jack, despite the fact that he was far behind. Let's take a look at the results so far. Jimmy Fuego still leading the championship, and Linz out in 2nd. MTL also in 3rd, and we really have a little bit of a countdown here from 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, and Flappa In 6, we also have Scratch and Zack tied, Jack and Metro tied, Kanzi and Zio tied, Apollo and Blake tied, and Blake and Apollo both have the least amount of points with 6, but Scratch, who managed to skyrocket himself into first or into 7th with 11 points. Beautiful, beautiful effort right there. It's about to go next to the Canadian Grand Prix. As Scotty Devil mentioned, Canadian Grand Prix